boys and girls. This story is called Roxaboxen by Alice McLerran. Roxaboxen. Marion called it Roxaboxen. She always knew the name of everything. There across the road, it looked like any rocky hill. Nothing but sand and rocks, some old wooden boxes, cactus and greasewood, and thorny octilio. But it was a special place. The street between Roxaboxen and the houses curved like a river, so Marion named it the River Road. After that, you had to ford a river to reach Roxaboxen. So here are the houses where the kids live. There's the road that they pretended was a river to get to Roxaboxen, a place with rocks and boxes. Of course, all of Marion's sisters came. Anna May and Frances and little Jean, Charles from next door, even though he was 12. Oh, and Eleanor, naturally, and Jamie with his brother Paul. Later on, there were others, but these were the first. Well, not really the first. Roxaboxen has always been there. It must have belonged to others long before. When Marion dug up a tiny tin box filled with round black pebbles, everyone knew what it was. It was buried treasure. Those pebbles were the money of the Roxaboxen. You could still find others like them if you looked hard enough. So some days became treasure hunting days, with everybody trying to find that special kind. And then on the other days, you might just find one without even looking. A town of Roxaboxen began to grow. Traced in lines of stone, Main Street first, edged with the whitest ones, and then the houses. Charles made his of the biggest stones. After all, he was the oldest. At first, the houses were very plain, but soon they all began to add more rooms. The old wooden boxes could be shelves or tables or anything you wanted. You could find pieces of pottery for dishes. Round pieces were the best. They made their own pretend town. That is so cool. Later on, there was a town hall. Marion was mayor, of course. That was just the way she was, but nobody minded. After a while, they added other streets. Frances moved to one of them and built herself a new house outlined in desert glass, bits of amber, amethyst, and sea green, a house of jewels. Look at, she spelled welcome with her rocks. Cool. They lived in a place where there were cactus, boys and girls, and desert. And because everybody had plenty of money, there were plenty of shops. Jean helped Anna May in the bakery, pies and cakes and baked bread warm in the sun. There were 2 ice cream parlors. Was Paul's ice cream the best or Eleanor's? Everybody kept trying them both. In Roxaboxen, you can eat all the ice cream you want. Everybody had a car. All you needed was something round for a steering wheel. Of course, if you broke the speed limit, you had to go to jail. The jail had cactus on the floor to make it uncomfortable, and Jamie was the policeman. Anna May, quiet little Anna May, was always speeding. You'd think she'd like to go to jail. But if you had a horse, you could go as fast as the wind. There were no speed limits for horses, and you didn't have to stay on the roads. All you needed for a horse was a stick with some kind of a bridle, and you could gallop anywhere. Sometimes there were wars. Once there was a great war, boys against girls. Charles and Marion were the generals. The girls had Fort Irene, and they were all Girl Scouts. The boys made a fort at the other end of Roxaboxen, and they were all bandits. Oh, the raids were fierce, loud with whooping and stamping of horses. The whirling of swords of Acatilio had sharp thorns. But when you reached your fort, you were safe. Roxaboxen had a cemetery in case anyone died, but the only grave in it was for a dead lizard. Each year when the cactus bloomed, they decorated the grave with flowers. There's the lizard grave, decorated with flowers. Sometimes in the winter when everybody was at school and the weather was bad, no one went to Roxaboxen at all, not for weeks and weeks. But it didn't matter. Roxaboxen was always waiting. Roxaboxen was always there. And spring came and the Acatilio bloomed, and everybody sucked the honey from its flowers. And everybody built new rooms, and everybody decided to have jeweled windows. That summer, there were 3 new houses on the east slope and 2 new shops on Main Street. And so it went. The seasons changed and the years went by. Roxaboxen was always there. The years went by and the seasons changed until at last the friends had all grown tall. And one by one, they moved away to their houses to other towns. So you might think that that was the end of Roxaboxen. But oh no, because none of them forgot Roxaboxen. Not one of them ever forgot. Years later, Marion's children listened to stories of that place and fell asleep dreaming dreams of Roxaboxen. Gray-haired Charles picked up a black pebble on the beach and stood holding it, remembering Roxaboxen. More than 50 years later, Frances went back, and Roxaboxen was still there. She could see the white stones bordering Main Street, and there, where she had built her house, the desert glass still glowed, amethyst, amber, and sea green. Roxaboxen. Boys and girls, Roxaboxen is a true story. It's a story about kids that used to live a long time ago in Yuma, Arizona. And they built that pretend place called Roxaboxen. And I remember as a little girl, my brothers and sisters and our neighbors, we would take shovels and rakes into the woods, and we would rake ourselves paths and make little homes and pretend that we lived there. That's something fun to do. Pretend and build yourself a village. Call it whatever you want. But this one is called Roxaboxen, and it's by Alice McLerran. I hope you enjoyed.